You know, we spend something like a third of our lives asleep.
It's a lot of time, yeah.
But I think a lot of people, they don't really get how much that time when we're out like a light actually affects us when we're awake.
Oh, absolutely.
So we're going deep on this today. The science of sleep and dreaming.
Very cool.
And just, a heads up, you're going to want to take notes on this one.
Some fascinating stuff.
Fairly mind-blowing stuff, yeah. So, okay, we spend 26 years asleep. What's actually happening in all that time?
Well, it's not just like one big snooze. It's actually this cycle of different stages.
Uh-huh.
And each one does something different.
Okay, so walk me through a typical 90-minute cycle. What are those stages all about?
So picture this. You're drifting off,
Mm-hmm.
and you hit stage 1. This is like dipping your toes into sleep.
Okay.
It's light. It's a transition.
Right.
And this is where you get those hypnic jerks, the sudden muscle spasms.
Oh, yeah, like you're falling.
Exactly. And it's so weird, right? It's your brain kind of freaking out for a second.
So it's like a safety mechanism or...
Yeah, like it thinks you're actually falling because your muscles are relaxing.
That's so interesting. So then what happens?
Then you move into stage 2,
Okay.
deeper light sleep.
Uh-huh.
But here's the thing. You get these bursts of brain activity. They're called sleep spindles.
Sleep spindles. All right.
And they're super important
Okay.
because, get this, they seem to be linked to memory consolidation.
So even in light sleep, my brain is working on memories.
Oh, yeah, totally. There's even some studies, right, that connect the number of these spindles with, intelligence.
Really?
Yeah, the more you have, the better your brain might be at processing and storing information.
So light sleep is actually not so light. It's pretty busy.
Right.
What about deep sleep then?
Stage 3. This is the heavy hitter. Deep sleep, slow wave sleep.
Okay.
This is like your body's overnight renovation crew.
I like that analogy.
Right. It's crucial for physical recovery, growth hormone, muscle repair, boosting your immune system.
I've heard that if you wake someone up during deep sleep, they're totally out of it.
Oh, for sure. It's called sleep inertia. Basically, you're ripping them out of this crucial process before their body's ready.
So that's why hitting snooze can sometimes make you feel worse.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, what comes after deep sleep?
Then we get to the star of the show, REM sleep.
REM, dreamland.
Exactly. This is where those crazy dreams happen. Your brain activity actually ramps up, almost like you're awake.
Really? My brain is as active when I'm dreaming as when I'm, having this conversation.
Pretty much, yeah. But here's the wild part. Your body is basically paralyzed.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's called rematonia. It's like a safety feature so you don't act out your dreams.
Oh, good. My partner would appreciate that.
Right. Imagine if you were physically doing everything you were dreaming about.
Chaos. Yeah.
So this REM sleep, the amount we get, that changes through our life, right?
It does.
Like babies, they spend 50% of their sleep in REM. Crazy.
It's a lot.
Thought to be super important for their brain development.
Interesting.
But us grown-ups, it drops down to 20, 25%.
Okay, so we've covered the stages, but now the big question, why? Why do we sleep so much? Besides just not being grumpy in the morning.
Well, there's a lot more to it than that, actually.
Oh, I bet.
It turns out sleep does some truly remarkable things, and researchers are only just starting to understand it all. One of the biggest discoveries, this thing called the glymphatic system.
The glymphatic system sounds kind of sci-fi.
Right. It's basically the brain's nighttime cleaning crew.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So while we're asleep, this system is flushing out all the waste products from our brain.
Like what kind of waste?
All sorts, but including this harmful stuff called beta amyloid, which, has been linked to Alzheimer's.
So good sleep is like giving your brain a power wash every night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that helps make sure your brain is functioning at its best when you wake up.
I like it. And I know I've heard sleep is really important for memory, too.
Absolutely. During those deep sleep and REM stages, our brains are replaying and organizing memories, strengthening connections, basically deciding what to keep and what to toss out.
So it's like filing away the important stuff.
Exactly.
Now, what about naps? Do those count for anything?
Oh, definitely. There was this fascinating study with students. They found that the ones who napped after studying did way better on tests.
Really?
Yeah, so working those naps into your study routine could give your brain a little memory boost.
Interesting. So sleep helps clean our brain, then consolidate memories. What else is going on in those nighttime hours?
Well, this might surprise you, but sleep is super connected to our emotions too.
Really?
Yeah, like if you're sleep deprived, it can really mess with your emotional stability.
Okay.
It affects the amygdala, which is like the brain's emotional center, makes you more reactive, more likely to overreact to stress and stuff.
That makes sense. I definitely feel more on edge when I haven't slept well.
Exactly. When you're sleep deprived, your amygdala is basically in overdrive,
Yeah.
making you more sensitive to anything that feels like a threat.
So if I want to be a more like balanced, resilient person, I really need to make sleep a priority.
Absolutely. It's not just about feeling rested. It's a crucial part of your overall mental and emotional well-being.
This is all super insightful. I'm already starting to rethink my relationship with sleep. It's so much more than I thought.
It really is amazing. And we're just scratching the surface here.
Well, speaking of scratching the surface, are we ready to tackle the mysterious realm of
Oh,
dreams?
absolutely. Dreams. They're so bizarre.
They really are.
These strange stories our minds cook up when we're asleep. Why?
Yeah, I mean, everyone has those dreams they can't forget, no matter how weird. But
Wha-
what's the point of all that? Why do we even dream?
That's the big question, isn't it? And we don't have all the answers, but there's some pretty interesting theories.
Like what?
Well, one of the most popular is the memory processing theory.
Okay, memory processing. So dreams are about our memories. How?
It's like while we sleep, our brains are going through the day's events, making connections, strengthening those neural pathways.
So even those really weird dreams
Oh, yeah.
could be my brain trying to process stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Those strange images might be like metaphors for your emotions, experiences.
I had this dream once where I was flying through a supermarket on a giant piece of cheese, so
There you go.
maybe that means something.
Could be your brain working through something, absolutely.
That's pretty cool. What are some of the other theories?
Another big one is the emotional regulation hypothesis.
Emotional regulation.
Yeah, the idea here is that dreams give us a safe space to process intense emotions,
Oh, huh.
things we maybe haven't dealt with fully while we're awake.
So it's like a therapy session for your subconscious.
Exactly. You can explore difficult feelings, work through stuff without the rules of reality.
I've definitely woken up from dreams feeling like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, right? It's amazing how dreams can tap into those deep emotions, the stuff you might not even realize is bothering you.
That's fascinating. So we've got memory processing and emotional regulation. What else?
Okay, now this one's a bit different. The activation synthesis theory.
Activation synthesis. All right.
This one says dreams are basically just random neural firing during REM sleep.
Random.
Yeah, your brain's trying to make sense of this random activity, so it creates a story, even if it's totally nonsensical.
So my dreams don't actually mean anything. They're just my brain making stuff up.
That's what this theory suggests, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, not everyone agrees, but it's an interesting perspective.
It does make you think, like, how much control do we actually have over our dreams?
Right, it's a big debate.
Are there any other theories we should know about?
There's also the problem-solving hypothesis.
Problem solving.
Yeah, this one suggests dreams might help us work through real-life problems.
Like that story about the guy who invented the periodic table. He saw it in a dream. Right.
Exactly. Dmitry Mendeleev. So maybe our dreams aren't just random noise. Maybe they hold some clues, solutions.
Interesting.
Something to think about for sure.
Okay, so many different ways to look at dreams. Are there also different types of dreams?
Oh, definitely. The dream world is full of variety.
Like what?
Well, you've got lucid dreams, nightmares, recurring dreams, even prophetic dreams. It's a whole spectrum.
Okay, break those down for me. What makes each type unique?
Let's start with lucid dreams. These are wild because the dreamer knows they're dreaming.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, and sometimes they can even control the dream.
That's like being the director of your own movie.
Exactly. And there are techniques you can try to have more lucid dreams,
I'm gonna have to look into that.
like reality checks, dream journaling, stuff like that.
Cool. What about nightmares?
Those are the ones we all dread.
Yeah,
Intense, scary, wake you up in a cold sweat.
I know those.
Stress, trauma, even some medications can trigger them.
But are they just our brains messing with us, or is there a reason for them?
Well, some researchers think they might help us process fears and anxieties.
So like a dress rehearsal for real-life threats?
Maybe, yeah. But of course, if they're really bad or happening all the time, it's important to talk to someone.
Right, makes sense. Okay, what about recurring dreams? I have this one where I'm always at work and I'm not wearing pants.
Oh, no.
It's so embarrassing.
Well, recurring dreams can be pretty insightful, actually.
How so?
They often point to unresolved issues, anxieties that keep popping up.
So maybe my dream means I'm stressed about work.
Could be, yeah. Pay attention to the emotions, the symbols. They might be trying to tell you something.
That's really interesting. All right, last one. What about prophetic dreams? Are those a real thing?
The million-dollar question.
Can dreams actually predict the future?
Well, there's no scientific evidence to support that, unfortunately.
So, all those stories about people dreaming about something that later happened,
Probably just coincidence.
that's kind of a bummer.
But still, it's cool to think about, you know? How sometimes dreams and reality seem to overlap.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, this has been so insightful. I'm starting to see dreams in a whole new way.
They really are fascinating.
But I have one more question. What's going on in the brain during all this? What's the science behind those nightly adventures?
Oh, that's where things get really interesting. We need to dive into the world of neuroscience.
Okay, lead the way. I'm ready to get a little technical. All right, let's get into the brain. What's actually happening in there while we sleep?
Well, the brain is like this complex machine, right?
Right.
Lots of different parts working together. And when it comes to sleep, there's this one area that's like the master conductor.
Okay.
It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN.
ESCN, all right. What does that do?
It's basically our internal clock. It regulates our circadian rhythm, that natural sleep-wake cycle.
So it tells us when it's time to sleep and when it's time to wake up.
Yeah, exactly. And it takes its cues from light. When light hits our eyes, the SCN knows to suppress melatonin production.
Melatonin, the sleep hormone, right?
Exactly. So when it's dark, melatonin levels rise and we get sleepy.
That's why they say to put away your phone before bed, right?
Yeah, all that blue light from screens can mess with your melatonin production.
Tricking your brain into thinking it's still daytime.
Exactly.
So dim the lights, put away the phone, let your brain know it's time to wind down.
Exactly. And speaking of melatonin, it's produced by this little gland called the pineal gland.
The pineal gland, interesting.
Some people call it the third eye because it's so sensitive to light.
So it's like our internal light sensor.
Pretty much. And then there's this other chemical, adenosine.
Adenosine, yeah, I've heard of that.
This one builds up in our brain throughout the day, creating that sleep pressure.
So that's why we get more and more tired as the day goes on.
Exactly. And you know what blocks adenosine?
Caffeine.
Bingo. That's why coffee gives you that temporary energy boost.
But eventually, the adenosine wins.
It always does. We all have to sleep eventually.
So then we fall asleep and enter the world of dreams. What's happening in our brains during that time?
Well, especially during REM sleep, things get really interesting. One of the big changes is that the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic and decision-making, it kind of takes a break.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's why our dreams can be so illogical and bizarre.
Our inner critic is off duty.
You got it. Meanwhile, the amygdala, the emotional center, that's super active.
So that's why dreams can be so emotionally intense.
Exactly. You might be laughing one minute, crying the next.
And all the while, our memories are being processed.
Yeah, the hippocampus and neocortex are busy consolidating information, strengthening connections.
So even though dreams might seem random, there's actually a lot going on behind the scenes.
It's pretty amazing. Oh, and we can't forget about rematonia.
That's the muscle paralysis, right?
Exactly. It prevents us from acting out our dreams.
Good thing, too. Some of my dreams are pretty wild.
It's a crucial safety mechanism. But sometimes things can go wrong with sleep.
Right, sleep disorders.
Yeah, they're more common than you might think.
Look, what are some of the most common ones?
Well, insomnia is a big one, trouble falling asleep or staying asleep.
I've been there.
It can really mess with your energy and focus during the day.
What else?
Sleep apnea is another one. That's where your breathing repeatedly stops and starts throughout the night.
Oh, wow, that sounds serious.
It is. It disrupts your sleep and can actually increase your risk for other health problems.
I had no idea. Are there any others?
There's also REM sleep behavior disorder. This is where the muscle paralysis during REM doesn't happen.
So people actually act out their dreams?
Yeah, it can be pretty dangerous, actually. It really shows how important that paralysis is.
Wow, okay. Well, this has been so fascinating, but I'm kind of glad we're moving on from sleep disorders.
Right.
Let's talk about the good stuff. What are some of the benefits of good sleep?
There are so many. Good sleep is like a superpower for your health and well-being.
Okay, give me the highlights.
Well, for starters, it boosts your immune system. Studies show that people who get enough sleep are less likely to get sick.
So sleep is like a natural defense against colds and flu.
Exactly. And it's good for your heart, too. Helps regulate blood pressure, reduce inflammation.
Sleep is good for my heart. That's good to know.
It also helps with hormone regulation, so you're less likely to have cravings and gain weight.
So I can ditch those late-night snacks.
Maybe, yeah. But it's not just physical benefits. Sleep is crucial for your mental and emotional health, too.
Okay, I'm listening.
When you're well-rested, you can focus better, think more clearly, be more creative.
It's like a mental reset button.
Exactly. And remember how sleep deprivation affects the amygdala.
Right. It makes you more emotional.
Well, when you're getting enough sleep, you're better at regulating those emotions, handling stress, and just feeling more balanced overall.
So sleep is like a mood booster.
You could say that.
Yeah.
And to top it all off, studies have shown that people who consistently get enough sleep tend to live longer, healthier lives.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm definitely prioritizing my sleep from now on.
It's one of the best things you can do for yourself.
This has been so insightful. It's amazing how much we take sleep for granted.
Right. It's something we do every day, but most of us don't really understand it.
Well, I feel like I have a whole new appreciation for sleep now. It's not just about feeling rested, it's about taking care of my physical and mental health, my emotional well-being, even my lifespan.
Absolutely. It's an investment in your overall well-being.
This deep dive has definitely been an eye-opener. I'm going to look at sleep in a whole new way now.
I'm glad to hear that. And remember, pay attention to those dreams tonight.
Good advice. They might be trying to tell us something.
Exactly. Sweet dreams, everyone.
And sleep well.